For today, we do have 3 interns that actually did their internships right here on campus in our business office. And we have Casey Stanley, who worked in the Research and Development Office, sponsored programs, and we have Han Tran and Quinn Tran, that was also in our business office. And I'm going to point out their supervisors are here. There's E.J. Cahill, who is the controller, Libby Webb, who helps us with all kinds of stuff. I'm sorry. And I saw a couple others. Scott Ingram, who is our director of sponsored programs. Vicki Blankenship and Angie. Tell me one more time. Angie Taylor, that works in our business office, and we appreciate you all coming as well as working with our interns. So they're also a great source if you're looking for an internship. So without any further information, we'll go ahead and let Casey get started. Thank you.
Well, first off, can everybody hear me? Good? Okay. My name is Casey Stanley, and my internship was at the Concord University Office of Sponsored Programs. A little bit of a history. Sponsored programs merged with Concord University Research and Development Corporation under the one office. In 1999 was when the Research and Development Corporation was founded under Code 18B12. There are 3 different levels of funding opportunities that we work with there in the office. We have grants, and grants are basically a funding agency gives money to another organization. Say the federal government gives money to Concord University, and that money is to help better the mission of a program, and that money doesn't necessarily have to benefit the mission of the funding agency. A contract is you give a deliverable at the end. It's specified in the contract that at the end of it you have to present them with something, and it does benefit the funding agency's mission, such as intellectual property. Say you were working on software. At the end of it, you would have to hand over the intellectual rights to the software if that was what was the terms in the contract. Now, cooperative agreement is a little bit different than these two. It actually benefits both, and you work together. The 2 agencies may go on a mission trip to Zimbabwe. And in Zimbabwe, you're looking to recruit people. However, the 2 agencies may work at a different pace with 2 different missions, but they work together to benefit both. Now, with the grants, contracts, and cooperative agreements, there's always allowability. And within allowability, you have the major one, the OMB circulars. These are documents that tell you what is allowable and not allowable by federal law, state law. And the OMB circulars will tell you the audit trails and everything else. And then if the OMB circular allows the funding agency to send money to the receiving agency, then you have to check the funding agency's guidelines to see if it's allowable by their mission and their laws. If it's allowable by their missions and their laws, then it goes to the funding agency, the receiving agency. And that is where it's checked by Concord University here. And with the receiving agency, their funds, you have to check the state law and the federal law. And if it's allowable by that, then it can be funded. You can take that opportunity. And there's one major, I guess, distraction for the OMB circulars is that you're never allowed to fund something like alcohol. However, it is allowable if you're working on a project to test the effects of alcohol on certain individuals or something like that, and it has to be allowable by both the law, federal law, and then it can be funded. But there's the exception, but it's usually hard to get the exception. The services we offer, we do funding opportunities where we actually sit down with the clients and we assess the needs and we fund accordingly. We set up, the search is step 2 of the process after the meeting. And the funding opportunity, we actually use different search engines like InfoEdSpin, grants.gov, something like that. And we use search parameters to find different activities that are going on within the federal government or foundation sponsors. We do grant counseling, is what I like to call it. When we sit down with them, you talk them through kind of the first steps of it, and then if they write a proposal, then we have to review the proposal. And after the review of the proposal, we then send it out. And when it comes back in, we review the contracts for the grants. If it's a continuation grant, meaning it goes on over the years, then we actually, excuse me, we review the contracts between the years to make sure that they are still worded right and there's no major discrepancies unless it's allowable in the proposal. Now, I had specific goals for this, and learning how to answer phones properly was on my internship matrix, but it was more or less under the heading of professionalism. I wanted to learn how to be professional in an environment where you were working with a client and you were working with specific documents and everything else. And to do this, I had to learn how to operate professionally in the office environment along with different employees, and you have to learn how to answer the phones, you had to learn how to draft correspondences and the like. Another major goal for me was I wanted to learn the opportunities of funding from day one to finish, cradle to grave. And I wanted to learn the first step, which is the client meeting. I wanted to learn the funding opportunity. I wanted to learn all of the different steps in it, the contract reviews, which was a major part for me because I actually like to do that. And once they told me that I would be doing it, I was happy because it's a great opportunity because every day, probably from here on out, you're going to be working with some type of contract and you're going to have to learn how to review it and look for allowability and wording especially. And obviously for every job out there nowadays, you got to be proficient with the Microsoft Office software. My job duties included the funding opportunity searches, contract reviews, and checking allowability through the OMB circulars, budget reviews, budget narratives, which are done. And the major thing with the budget is you want to take your budget narrative, which is a written down, broken down part in writing of your budget. And you want to be able to draft your budget while looking at your budget justification so everything matches up. That's step one and the major factor of doing a budget, right? Budget reviews for grants can seem complicated because sometimes what's in your budget justification isn't expressed solely on what's on your budget. So you kind of have to hunt and review and ask a lot of questions like I do. But that's how you learn. Now, advertising, I can't disclose any information on what we actually work with, but I can say that we were working on a project, and it was to help the southern counties of West Virginia, 9 southern counties of southern West Virginia. And we had to figure out how to appropriately advertise to this group of people. And that was part of my marketing internship, since I'm a marketing student here. And it's fun to get the hands-on experience of knowing that you're dealing with a whole lot of people, and different media spectrums. So you have to think outside of the box sometimes, and you have to figure out how you can kind of ride out print advertising or something like that. And then we have usually weekly meetings every Monday in which we talk about ways that we can possibly make the office run more efficiently. And it helps to make a cohesive environment for all the workers, because everybody can come together and you can talk about ideas and everything, which is nice. It's helpful, definitely. Okay, now my classes that helped are business communications. I love it. Marketing 305 definitely helped because, like I said, you were looking at different areas to advertise to people, to market to different segments. Management 305 helped because you learn how to appropriately, I guess, manage different aspects of what you're doing. Business productivity software help because it's office and you gotta love it or you're not gonna like your job. And my final remarks, I think it was a great work experience for later. It definitely helps open your eyes to everything that you'll be doing. Contract reviews, definitely. And it's great life experience because you get to work with wonderful people and you get to help a lot of people's programs and schools, a lot of it like that. So you get to help a lot of people, so it's wonderful. And does anybody have any questions?
Do you know what OMB stands for?
Oh, I can't think of it right offhand.
Office of Management Budget.
Office of Management Budget. Anybody? All right. Thank you very much.
Do you want to ask how to get the next internship? We'll let Casey get log off there, and I guess Con and Lynn will be sharing with you their experiences in the financial office.
Thank you. Good luck, guys. Thank you. I'll walk over here and talk to them. I'll take the water. Thank you. Give this to them to pass off.
Yeah, they'll use it.
Okay. I wasn't sure since there were two of them.
Because the camera's still rolling. You can just trade it between, if that'll work.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hang and my partner is Quinn. Today we're gonna talk about our internship experience at the Office of Business and Finance at the Concord University. Before starting our presentation, I have a question for you guys. How many of you here think about doing an internship during college? If you think about it, it's a good. If you're not, please get an internship as soon as possible. It is a good opportunity for you to apply the classroom knowledge into work environment. It's help you focus on your work, on your career goal, and acquire new skill and experience, and as well as discover your personality. About how to secure an internship, the first thing is networking. The more people you know, the more chance you can get an internship. And another thing is attend the career fair. As you know, Concord University held the career fair each semester to provide you guys a lot of valuable information and career opportunity. And the last thing is preparing the good resume and be professional when you meeting new people and contact with them. And now Quinn will talk with you guys about history of Concord University and our organizational chart.
Today we'll provide you with some remarkable events that happened through our Concord history so that you can have a better understanding about our organizations. Concord universities were founded in 1872 with the name of Concord State Normal School, and the campus site took 3 years to be complete, and the first class was start in May 10, 1875 with a total of 70 students. After 60 years, unfortunately, a fire destroyed the building in November 1910 and caused the campus site to be relocated to its present site. After almost 60 years, without significant change in its essential characteristic, in 1931, Dr. J. Frank Marsh has brought the university to full national accreditation, and in 1985, Under Dr. Jerry Beasley's leadership, Concord received national notice for its progressive efforts, and throughout its life, Concord has several name changes, such as like Concord State Teacher College, teacher school in from 1931 to 1943, and Concord College from 1943 to 2004. And from 2004 until now, the Concord has the name of Concord University, as you know. And this is the organizational chart for our business office. The head of the department is Dr. Becker. He's also the vice president for business and finance. Elizabeth Cahill, my supervisor, is the controller of the business office. And working under her is Libby Webb, in charge of account payroll, and Gary Hilton, in charge of procurement, and Victoria Blankenship is a business manager. Andy Taylor is responsible for Perkins and account receivable. And in the cashier office, we have Debbie Mayer and Dina. During our internship, we both work directly under Vicky and Angie supervisory. And next, I will talk about the service that our business office provides.
Our business office provides for students and faculty a several services. The first one is the distribution of paycheck or the refund check twice a month. And next is the invoice, issue the invoice and payment tuition for students. And they also take care of the budget analysis for each department in Concord University. And they do some accounting. They do a lot of accounting function like revenue recognition and expense. They're also in charge of the Child Development Care Center and the Concord Research and Development and the Booking Loan. And the next thing is our projected work area.
I start my internship by preparing the revenue and expense history over the past 10 years from 2002 to 2012 for Ms. Cahill, and my other duties include like process daily deposit information for receivables and determine the institution's monthly revenue from booking loans. I also assist with some accounting function and record payment for Child Development Care Center. Sometimes we have out in the cashier office and do some mailing and filing also.
During the time doing internship in Office of Business and Finance, I have a chance to experience a lot of duty. The first one is the revenue recognition. It includes the revenue deposits, revenue refund, and revenue transfer. I have to determine the appropriate revenue account and then enter this information into the state financial information management system and enter this information in your university software. Another thing is account reconciliation. This is help to ensure that own funds are properly entered and transfer into the appropriate revenue account. And one of the big projects I did during the internship is the function cost comparison between West Virginia higher education institutions. This is a thing to see how much Concord have spent in each function, such as research, instruction, financial aid, when compared with other university in West Virginia. And other thing I did is preparing the payroll and disbursement for Concord research and development. I'm using QuickBooks to preparing the payroll and issue the related check for them. And the last one is the fixed asset acquisition report. This one is to record on the new item Concord University get and then enter this information into the university software to calculate the depreciation expense and to check on the retired inventory after that.
It was our first time working in a real business environment, so we have faced a lot of problems, and the biggest one was accounting adjustment. You know, accounting is known to be a very complicated business area, and if you were not careful, you will be lost in a maze of numbers. Accounting is dealing with collecting, evaluating, and inputting data into a spreadsheet. And with just a typo, you can cause the data to be mismatched. And it should be easy to find and fix the error if you only have like 10 or 20 accounts. But here we talk about like hundreds or thousands accounts and with different funds. So it's relatively difficult and time consuming to fix it. I mean, the only way to deal with this problem is that you have to be more patient and more careful when you inputting data into the spreadsheet, so that you wouldn't make any mistake or typo at all. Like the second problem is communications. Sometimes we have problem communicate professionally with our supervisor, like in terms of like finance and accounting terms, communicating. And there was time that we couldn't fully understand like the task and job that were given to us, and we had to have our supervisor like explain it again. But at first we was very shy and hesitated to ask our supervisor, and after a short while we like gradually open up and I feel more comfortable about asking, because like it's all thanks to our supervisor that they very like encouraging and supportive to us during our internships. Thank you, Harold. And here's how we will talk about the course material that are related to our internship.
The first class is very helpful for my internship experience is a governmental and not-for-profit accounting. It's helped me understand the difference between a not-for-profit entity with a for-profit entity, and helped me understand the information from the financial reporting of Concord University. The other class is the federal and state taxation. It's provide me information to preparing the payroll for childcare development and for Concord research and development. Business productive software is the most helpful one, because you know technology stuff, you have to deal with a lot of making spreadsheet with a lot of number, and like this class helped me proficiently using on the Microsoft Word, Office, and Principle of Accounting 1 and 2 provide you a fundamental theory and practice in understanding the accounting term. And the last one is the ethic. It's helped me behave like ethically in this work environment, in the business work environment. And
is that a conclusion? You know what I learned from our internship? I learned to be more responsible for what I do, and to be not afraid of making mistakes, because by only making mistakes that you can really learn and grow from it. And I also learned to be more patient and more careful with what I do. And I personally learned that working is not only about doing one job, but also like communicating, socializing with like your coworker, your supervisor, and your subordinates. And
internship is a very great experience for your future career. It's gonna help you to be ready for your employment after graduation, and it's also help you to focus on your career goal, and then discover your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, so that you can know how to develop yourself. And thank you to our supervisor to give us like really great experience, and thank you for our division of business for have this internship for us. Thank you so much.
thank you. Do you have any question?
Do I have any question?
Thank you.
We appreciate you all coming. Once again, I know at the beginning, Han asked how many of you all were thinking about an internship, and I'm over there raising my hand for you. If you haven't thought about one, I encourage you to do that. I think the three of them presenting today, as well as other interns that have presented, they've given them valuable experience. And once again, it is about networking, and that is a step into a position. So if you're interested, please talk to your professors, check emails about notices, check your services. The internship packet is online through our website. course, Mr. Fazio is our internship coordinator. He wasn't able to be here today. He's over at the undergraduate research day presentations, which let me make a plug for that also. If you're thinking about graduate school, I think last count 15. I'm looking at you guys. You guys hear anything? Scott, did you hear anything different? There's about
15 or 17.
15 to 17 graduate schools over in the Student Center. So if you're thinking about it, I know WVU's there, Radford's there, Virginia. I think Virginia Tech came, Marshall. I mean, there's a lot of programs. So go over and talk with them if that's an option also, and they'll tell you how important an internship is as well. So anyway, any other questions, comments? Okay. Thank you all for attending and for another successful symposium series. And
Run quá rồi, sao rồi.